Okay, let's look at some things. Van's unlocked. Hello, adventurers, and welcome back to my channel. Oh, I've got a big project today and kind of excited about it at the same time. This is a project that probably makes me the most nervous I've been in a while. So we've got some things to look at real quick and then we'll figure this out. I just woke up. I haven't even finished my coffee yet, but there's no time like the present time to get working on a project. So it's time to try to open this. Is it gonna work? Oh yeah, it worked good today. Okay, so this is the back of my van and I have a little amount of things that I've put in here kind of along this side where normally I would have a shelf. I don't currently have my shelf installed, but I may end up putting it back in because, well, let's face it. The entire reason that I haven't put it back in is, well, I'm supposed to be getting my doors fixed, but with the part shortage and the ongoing struggles of the strike and parts becoming less and less available, I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. And I've just kind of made my peace with it that I just don't open these doors while I'm physically not at my base camp unless I have to. So I've kind of adapted. And because I've adapted and I've pivoted, I can use both my side doors and that makes my life so much easier. So I may end up putting that shelf back in, just not today. My van is in disarray. I've kind of thrown things in, I've moved things about, I've been shuffling through stuff, trying to find stuff, and I'm about to repack the entire van, but for the time being, I have these which have freshly been laundered and need to be put back into the other pillow, and well, this is chaos. Just ignore this for now. In the anticipation of trying to figure out this project, I did a whole bunch of like soul searching and moving around, and I decided that for this trip, I'm just not going to worry about the shelf. But this other thing I can worry about, and it's something that could be helpful, but I need to think in the future of what happens if I do install the shelf before doing this project, because this project is something that can't be changed. This is one of the only things I've ever put in my van that cannot be modified after it's already done. So it's a little stressful, and I need to see where the shelf fits whenever it's back in the van so I can determine where this needs to go. Okay, so in this section right here, I have some little tabs on the floor and that's where the shelf attaches. So I need to move this so I can see below it, so I can see where the shelf attaches, and then I will be able to determine where this thing needs to go. So this is gonna be fun. Okay, so I have this right here and then this, and this is where the little thing that I could click in my shelf to. It's like a little securing area, but you can see the shelf itself fit right here because there's a nice little marker there to show us where it was. So that means that if I place something, it needs to go somewhere either here, which might not be possible, or in here, which also might not be possible. Oh no. Oh, this is the hard part. And again, I only get one chance at this, so I have to be smart whenever I do this. Oh, what should I do? Okay, so in theory, I thought like right here would be a good place, but I think that that's gonna be too far forward. So I don't know. I just don't know. Okay, I may have to get some tools to work on this to see if I can take off this little cover. If I can take off the cover, that might be a good place to put this. But let me show you what I'm talking about now that I've kind of got an idea and I need to go in search of some tools, and I don't really want to hop up here to do it. You might recall whenever I was giving kind of a brief overview of my dad's van, I showed you this. This is a shore power plug that is run directly inside the van, and he can plug in at a campsite and then have power directly off the pole. Well, guess what? I'm going to be drilling a hole. Well, rather, my dad is going to be drilling a hole in my van so that I can have one of these too. This is going to be one of the biggest changes I've made to the actual van itself, because this is something, again, that can't be reversed once I've done it. The hole is the hole. So it has to be thought about in a strategic way so that other things will work with it. Now, with that said, I don't always stay at campsites that have power, which is why this has never been something that I've really wanted. But as I travel this winter, I will be staying at more sites that do have accessibility to power because of kind of where I'm going and also because of the season. And so I needed something that would give me a solution for the cold nights or for the nights that were kind of weird and might have funky weather and I need to be able to charge things and also not have to deplete my batteries just to do basic stuff or leave something outside. Now, I don't know about you guys, but whenever it is cold outside, the last thing I want to do is leave my door cracked so that I can see that my power station is charging on a pole and that nobody is taking it. And I would like to think that people are always super honest and don't take things. But you know, I've been seeing a lot more reports of campgrounds where people have had things just go missing out of their campsite because people aren't as honest these days. And that is not cool. But there's nothing I can do about that part. But what I can do is make sure that I'm safeguarding myself. So, after a lot of debate, shore power is going to be in my future. So what are some of the pros of having shore power? It's not something I'm going to use every single day, but if I do need it, it's there. And it only takes a couple of small things to actually get shore power into your van. I'm not going to be running a big battery system or connecting it to any panels or anything like that, because if you have been watching my channel for a while, you'll know the one thing that I have been hesitating to do with this van is to void the warranty in any way, shape, or form. And guess what? The electrical system is part of that warranty. So I cannot tap into anything inside the van or even move the wiring or cover the wiring, because then that could void my warranty. So that's why I haven't insulated. That's why I haven't put any kind of like interior panels. Like my dad's van is fully built out. But whenever I went and got my Nissan, the guy was very specific in telling me that if you impair it from being able to be worked on at a factory in the condition that it is, they can interpret that as voiding the warranty. So that's been a no-go for me. But this is not going to tap into any of that. It's going to be into the wall. It's not going to connect to anything in the van. It's not going to be covering anything in the van. So this, after much research, is safe. So with that, let me show you what I have, and then I'll call my dad and say, help me please. I don't know how to do this. He's picked up a special saw just for this because, well, you can't just punch a hole in your van and not have a specific saw for doing what you need to do. So we found that at Harbor Freight. I'll show you what it looks like in just a little bit. But first, let's see how I'm going to be able to connect this to the van from the pole. Okay, this cord right here is all I need to have some shore power in my van. So what happens is this will sit on the outside and can be capped off and closed. This is what the power will come into the van through, and then it will have these two little cords that hang out inside the van that I can use at any time. And this is one of those things that I'm really excited about, but there's a couple of other accessories to make it all actually work. Now this was purchased through Amazon. You can find a variety of different sizes, looks, things like that, and they're not super expensive. So this is a very logical way, if you're going to be staying at places that do have power, to be able to plug in and power all the things within your van. So it's not that it's necessarily a horribly expensive project. It's more so that it's one of those things that it's a commitment step. And as I previously discussed, I wasn't ready to make that commitment just yet, but now I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm definitely ready, especially after going in my dad's van and him having the access to power on some of those cold nights. Being able to use heat and not worry about it draining a power station was very nice. And as I will be traveling during winter, I know I'm going to encounter at least a few of those nights. So it'd be nice to be able to plug in and not stress out about having my heater running a little bit longer. Or if I'm in a campsite that has power and I need to, again, plug in a power station or have some power inside my van or run my fridge without depleting my resources, I can do all those things from the comfort of the inside. So that will be very nice, especially when it gets closer and closer to dark. Nobody wants to be creeping outside to go and grab a power station that they forgot by the pole. No, 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 no. Now these next two items are from Walmart, so you can pick both of these up at Walmart. So again, Amazon for the main plug, Walmart for these. This one is just an RV adapter. It's found in the RV section. It allows you to go from 30 to 15 amp because every park is a little bit different. And so it allows you to make sure that you have the correct thing just in case. And so it's just a little adapter that can fit onto this guy, which is just a light duty extension cord. This one is a 16 gauge. You can get any gauging. The lower the number, the thicker that it is. So this is 25 feet. So what I can do is I can plug this into the pole, and if it doesn't work for this particular kind of outlet, I can use the adapter, and then I run the cord either under my van or behind my van and into the little plug, and from there I will have power inside the van. Now, can you have power inside your van without one of these ports? Yes, but you have to have a way for it to get inside, which means you're going to have to crack a window or leave a door slightly ajar. And neither one of those things sounds pleasant during the winter time, especially if it's super cold. So I decided this would work better, not to mention leaving the window cracked just a little bit with my current Reflectix situation. It's a little different. Before, I would just leave it a slight hair cracked and it wouldn't be that big of a deal. Now I can do that, but there's a Reflectix sitting there, so there is less airflow, so that would be impossible for a cord to then go through there without really making my Reflectix super wonky, and then having this cord precariously like draped through my van, which no one wants that. We just don't want that. So instead, what I'm going to do is have this set up. And if for some reason, I've had a lot of people who in the past, whenever we've talked about different power sources, have said they don't feel comfortable plugging into something because what if they have to leave? We kind of did a little bit of a test. If you pull away from the pole and this thing's still plugged in, guess what? It pops off. So you can still get away if you need to, if you're in a dangerous situation. I don't recommend doing that, but you can do that. Okay, so this is my thoughts. I've had the shelf on this side. I've had the shelf on the other side. I mostly like it on this side. It just makes more sense. So I'm definitely committing to this side. But where? So the shelf itself has an open bottom like piece, but that barely fits over the wheel well. And it's only open so it can fit over the wheel well. So I have mostly that one spot here in the back to work with because the rest of the shelf has a actual back on it, which makes it more complicated to put it on this side. Oh, that's the problem. Now, do I commit to putting my power on the other side? That would mean I cannot move my shelf ever if I do that, because then it wouldn't line up unless I covered the plug, which again, I can't move the plug. I can only cover the plug. This is the hard part. Okay, bringing this outside so I can kind of show Dad what I'm talking about a little bit. We're gonna see what this looks like. He already is back here working a little bit. So he removed the little black area, and as long as we don't affect the wires themselves, this will work. So this plug is going to go on the outside portion, and then this will go inside, and it will sit in this little pocket. Okay, so Dad, do you think this is gonna work?
Yeah, it'll work all right.
Okay, so we were talking about that. Let me see that for a second. We're talking about just notching out a couple of these little vents so it can still have the cover there, so it'll protect the wiring and then it won't have any problems. But that way the cord can come out of the side here and then it'll fit all nice and snug up against the van. And this is an area that's going to be perfect for this because typically the only thing that I put back here is like my chair, and now the chair is living on the roof, so this is going to be great. Might even be a good place for me to just like keep an extra cord if I do need it to move up toward like the fridge or something. Like for example, I'm at a campsite and I want to plug my fridge in versus having it run through a power station. I could actually just run a small extension cord up to the front, because the cord for the fridge isn't quite long enough to go all the way to the back from where I currently have it sitting. But that would give me an opportunity to keep it plugged in while also topping off my power, because there's 2 individual plugs on this, so I can use 2 plugs, or I can extend that out just a little bit through connectors and things like that. So this is gonna be good. This is gonna be super good. This gives me an opportunity to have something a little bit more stable when it comes to the ongoing power situation, because sometimes, well, like I said, sometimes you're on a cloudy day or a rainy day, and if you have the option to pull into a campsite that has power, you can do that with one of these, versus if it's that same day, having to sit your stuff outside and it kind of getting ruined. So this is going to be interesting. This is what the cavity looks like behind that. Again, you can see the wires. Now, the wires are the main reason why I didn't want to have my shelf in when the van is worked on, because they have to access this panel in order to get out here to this wiring system. So this is why. But working below this, in a safe zone, that's okay. These are the new parts that Dad has. These are all the little hole saws. And so the way that these work is actually allow you to punch through the metal by using a regular like drill. And so this is a kit that he picked up at Harbor Freight. This is something that's very valuable because these are all for metal. So if he needs to put any kind of other holes in his van, he has access to being able to do that when he's running like his solar and stuff. Okay, currently Dad is looking for the correct hole saw for the actual piece to make sure that it's the right size, because he doesn't want something that's too small or too big, because if it's too big then it'll be wonky, and if it's too small then the thing won't fit through. So the main thing is getting it to fit correctly, so he's sizing them to see which one is the most appropriate. Okay,
so that should fit.
So that's a 2-inch?
This says 2 inch on the thing.
Okay.
Yeah, 2 inch. So that still should give us plenty room to plenty of lip here.
So as Dad's getting the space set up, he's going to start from the inside and work his way out, and that way we can make sure that the hole lines up with where the edge is. And again, the edge is just right under this carpet, so we'll know exactly where it needs to go. The good thing about putting it into this recessed panel is that the plug itself will be able to fit pretty far up in there, and then the cords can drape out to the back, and that'll give us a nice area of movement even after the shelf is in there, so that way I don't have to worry about stuff near as much. Okay, there's the initial hole right there. Oh, I can see the inside. Oh yeah. Okay, so now that he's done this, he's going to clean up the edge so there's no like sharp pieces on there, and make sure there's no like filings or anything. And then because this is his second time around, he said this hole actually ended up a little bit better than his, so that's kind of cool. Again, making the most of this. Can't do anything about the doors, but I can definitely do some things about this other stuff. And I'm really happy that I do have Dad here, because he has already done this, and if I would have been cutting a hole, I would have been clutching and scared that I was gonna mess up something. So this makes me super happy, and I also learned something from this, that slow and steady going from inside and then going to the outside really does help. The cleanness of this cut is impeccable. It's really, really nice. Okay, Dad's doing a little bit of a test right now just to kind of see if everything fits through the hole, and to kind of see what we need to do, if anything, before he mounts it. And so looks pretty good, and it's not huge, so that's really nice. It just looks like it's part of the van. Okay, there it is coming in. That's awesome. That's gonna be the perfect placement too. So it's not finished yet, obviously. We still have to finish mounting it, and then also cut the little slit in the vent part. But I think it's gonna work out really well now that I know that it's not gonna mess up anything with my warranty. And it's definitely gonna help me this winter, which I'll be telling you about winter very soon. I have something super fun planned, and I don't think I'm gonna be alone. Okay, Dad's drilling for the screws. Okay, Dad is currently screwing in the screws for the ones that he's doing one by one. That way he can keep it nice and even. And we just kind of lined it up to make sure it kind of matched the line on the bottom here, so it looks even. My van kind of tilts up a little bit in the design on the back, so it might have been a little bit against what you might think that you would do, because whenever you're looking at it from a long distance, it looks like it is up just a little, but it does match this. Okay, just 2 more left, and then this part is complete. So now it's time to see if this is gonna work. We're gonna open our little plug, and there it is. And then I'm gonna plug in this cord, which is plugged in currently to the pole. Okay, that fits nice and snug. Now Dad is plugging into the interior plug, and we're gonna see if this works. Okay. Woo! We have power in the van.
Sure, both of them working.
Okay, so one side works for sure. Okay, he's plugged into the next one. Woo! We have power in the van. So now all we have to do is get the vent ready, and I am road ready. Oh, this is gonna be great. I was thinking of all the possibilities. Heat, air, charging things, plugging in my fridge, hanging out at camp, and not having to worry about waking up with 3% on my battery, because you know, I drained them in the night trying to be warm or cold or having lights or charging my laptop or things like that. In fact, whenever I'm at a campsite that has shore power, I am now going to be able to just plug my laptop directly into the pole and not deplete my batteries with my highest drawing item. So that's a huge win. Again, I'm not going to stay at a campsite that has pole power every single time, but when I do, this is really going to give me an opportunity to recharge and not spend all my power just doing basic things. So I can strategically plan my office days at campsites that I also want to enjoy versus having to go to a Starbucks or something like that just to have power. I can just book a campsite that's like $20 and stay there, get some great van life enjoyment out of a beautiful place, and plug in and be able to do some work. So this is a win. Okay, Dad is just trying to kind of start where he's going to be taking out that little piece. This could take a minute, but it's just plastic, so he's going to cut it out, and that'll give me the perfect amount of space for the plug to come into the van. And now he's going to see if the plugs fit. If they don't fit, he's going to cut out another one, but oh my goodness, they look like they fit. Ooh, that's exciting. Now we just have to make sure the other one can fit with the cord already through. That's going to be the challenging part, possibly. Yeah, it's a little snug, but it might still work. We'll find out soon enough. Ooh, there it is. It works. Okay, so
now will this piece fit?
Now there's one last piece.
Yes.
Okay, so everything fits, and now it can just be mounted back up, and then all that hangs out is this little cord section, which is perfect. Note to self, now I need to remember whenever I go to a campsite and I plug in to remember to add to my checklist, unplug the van. Okay, so now that the power is installed, now I'm one step closer to getting back on the road. I'm very excited. I have some cool things coming up, so I'll be sharing all of those with you, of course, as always. So I just wanted to share this with you. If you're interested in doing something like this and you don't think that you can, it's not quite as hard as I thought it would be, but always having somebody who has a little bit of knowledge to kind of settle your mind and teach you something is always great. So if you do have some hesitations, see if you can find someone who's put in one of these before. You know, they have the tools already, and so it's going to make it a little bit easier. And if you can't and you do want to take it on yourself, you need a hole saw, a drill of some kind, and a drill bit, and that's about it. Remember guys, we're not here for a long time, but we are here for a good time, and my good time is about to be that much better with a little bit of plug and play power. Till next time guys, bye!